right here, this brick wall, that is part of the original power plant. St. Augustine Gas and Electric was located right where the parking lot is today. It was St. Augustine's first power plant. Now, where you are situated right now is the original ice plant. This is Florida's first electrical ice plant. The building itself was constructed and opened in 1917. Ice is really, really important to the local economy. And the shrimpers are using it for their catches. You get citrus farmers are using it. And Mr. Flagler's hotels and the restaurants in the city are also using ice. Why? Fresh cocktails. By introducing ice into cocktails, it revolutionized, it changed the bar industry in this country forever. And it all started in 1917 with this ice plant in this area. All right, folks. The building is going to operate for a number of years until 1963 when it closed down. Let's face it, everybody's got refrigerators, everybody's got freezers now. You don't have to make and ship the ice out. And it fell dormant. It's basically been abandoned for just over 3 decades. Now, in 2007, we almost lost the building. A realtor came to St. Augustine, saw the Castillo, San Marcos, Flagler's architecture throughout the city, and decided this historic city needed brand new condominiums. He was going to buy the property, knock the building down, and where we sit right now was supposed to be condos. Thankfully for us, the funding for that fell through. It did not happen. But here is where our owners, Philip McDaniel and Mike Diaz, come into the picture. Philip and Mike actually have known each other for a long time. They're friends, and they had a vision. They had a quest, if you say. They wanted to build a craft distillery in Florida and put Florida on the map for craft spirits, in particular, the bourbon. They wanted to produce Florida's first bourbon. Let me rephrase this. They wanted to produce Florida's first legal bourbon. Legal being the key word here. With a group of 20 investors, some families, some individuals, they raised the money. It's private investment that bought and opened this place up. And we actually started producing bourbon in March of 2013. But it was a long haul. The building was in horrible shape. The construction workers that came in to start cleaning this place out had to wear hazmat suits. They had to work in 30-minute shifts because you had to go outside and change the filters in the mats. Bad shape. But the building was refurbished to its former glory and it's won 4 preservation awards. You are sitting in the middle of the original ice plant, guys. All the architecture, these steel beams and everything came with the 1917 building. If you were sitting right now, back here 99 years ago, you'd be chilling out big time because you wouldn't be in this much ice. So Florida's first ice plant turns into Florida's first craft distillery producing legal bourbon and rum, gin, and vodka. Now, we are locally sourced. All the ingredients that go into our spirits, most of them come from local farms, small family farms and businesses, with the exception of the barley. The barley, well, it doesn't grow down here in the Florida heat, so we had to go almost all the way up to the North Pole to get barley. Who here has heard of the state of Minnesota? Now, there's a little family farm up there, they produce our barley for us. But all of the bottles, the packaging, everything, from local businesses, everything is made right here in the USA. Now, we're pretty responsible to the community that we are in business with. We've got 35 local jobs created, mine being number 35. That simply means you got 34 bosses when you're employee number 35. We practice farm to still to farm technologies. Basically a fancy word saying we recycle. The mash that is used comes from local farms and everything, right? But once it's used, it's not thrown away. It's actually given back to the farmers. They feed their livestock with it. You got happy cows, but the livestock starts refertilizing the ground again, the whole cycle starts all over. The water is the same way. We do not have a massive amount of water waste. We have a 500-gallon recycle tank right in behind the building. And you can't see it because there's a fence going around it, but when you leave it, just check through the cracks, you can see it sitting there. Most of the water, over 90% of it that we use for our spirits, is cleaned and recycled and used again. All of our spirits, all of them, have at least double gold medal in any competition they've been entered in. That's a pretty good record right now. And we've also given a lot back to the community. Okay, we're involved in a number of charities here in St. Johns County and St. Augustine. We sponsor Fiber College Radio, St. Augustine Amphitheater, and in 2017, we're actually partnered up with Habitat for Humanity. We're going to start putting a couple houses up there in Lincolnville. Me with power tools. That should be a real pleasant thought. That should guys make you want to drink like right now. But company, if you guys come back here next year and I'm just seeing a couple fingers, you know exactly what happened. All right, we're going to go check here. I'm going to make sure the production floor is clear. I'll get you out there. Please remember, everything you see is real. The stills, the cookers, everything is real. Okay, it's no props. It is not climate control, folks. Okay, so if you start to feel woozy, you're going to fall out, you're not feeling yourselves, raise your hand. I'll instantly get you into the tasting group. Or I'll sit you down, give you a nice big old glass of water. Please feel free to take all the pictures that you want, but guys, please resist the urge to touch the bourbon barrels. Yeah, I made the same mistake when I first took the tour a couple years ago. I saw the bourbon barrel look like a scene out of Heidi. I'm running across the field, I'll go and grab this barrel, and I'll get kids and everything else. Unfortunately, I can't do that. I learned that take the palm of your hand and you start touching these barrels. Hundreds of people do that a day, thousands a week. The sweat and enzymes and everything from your hand actually start to sink into the wood. And I'm pretty positive nobody in this room wants a spirit tasting like me. Right? You got that, right? Okay. Last person out, please close the door behind you. Come on.
You have to be picture it.
Come on down here, folks. Yes, please stay behind the yellow line. All right, guys, right on down here. Now, as I mentioned, we do produce 4 spirits: bourbon, rum, gin, and vodka. I'm basically going to give you a basic description on how we distill the bourbon. Okay? Now, our bourbon is made up of 3 pots: 60% corn, 22% malted barley, and then 18% red winter wheat. You combine this, it's called a mash. You take your mash, you put it into that silver cooker that they're working on right there, the mash tub. Now the mash tub is going to cook this mash for approximately 6 hours. At the very end of that cooking process, the yeast is added. Once the yeast goes in, they take the mash, transfer it over to the fermentation tanks, F1 through 5, you can see them to your left. The mash will stay in there from 4 to 6 days, but here's where the yeast is doing its stuff. Yeast is eating away at that mash, okay? It's creating 3 things: heat, CO2, and what we want, alcohol. After that process is complete, it's pumped out of the fermentation tank to this beautiful still on your right-hand side. That is the stripping still. The yeast is going to strip the alcohol from the mash. It does this by slowly boiling it. Alcohol boils at 170 degrees, a little bit less than water, right? Turns into a vapor, turns into a steam. And it's going to go up the column and into the condensation tanks. Now, once it hits that tank there, it's cooled off, turns back into a liquid. You can see it right there coming out of that little glass container. It goes right into the holding tanks behind it. Now you got one more step. You take it from the holding tank and put it into the spirit still. Here's where the magic truly happens. The alcohol is going to be broken up into 3 different pots: your head, your heart, your tails. Now the head of the alcohol is something you do not want. That is the stuff your nail polish remover is made out of. The stuff that your grandfather warned you if you drink it you'll go blind. Okay? Don't want that. The tails are the opposite. Very weak in alcohol content. It tastes and smells really bad. The hot, that is the spirit that you're going to drink. Now, unlike the large distilleries who have computers separating and tasting this, analyzing, we do it strictly by hand here. Our distillers are literally like artists, like a fine sculptor or fine painter. They're going to pull the hops out of that still strictly with their sense of smell and taste. Now, all four of the spirits are basically distilled the same way. The ingredients change up a little bit, i.e. the rum. The rum is distilled with sugar cane and molasses. Now, once the rum is taken out, proofed out, it is put into the old, used 25-gallon bourbon barrels. You see those small ones up top there. And it will sit in there for about 6 months. It's really cool because it gives our rum a really beautiful honey hue to it. It's got a really beautiful honey color to it. The vodka, once it comes out, proofed out, it's basically ready to go. You can bottle it. But the gin's got one more step. The gin has got to go with a little botanical skill against the wall back there. Gin has got juniper berries. Unlike old world gin, we don't crush our berries up. Juniper berries go in whole with 13 other botanicals, including some citrus. Cuts down on the tiny taste, gives it a really, really smooth flavor. Now we're going to discuss a little bit more on the bourbon. Now we're going to walk this way, folks. And real quick, if you want to look in here, this is the bottling room. Remember I said everything's done by hand? Well, that includes the bottling. 2 ladies work in this room 8 hours a day. They bottle every single spirit is bottled here, labeled, corked, packaged, right inside that room. These ladies can do 120 cases a day, 6 bottles a case. Come on down here, folks. Alright guys, can you just line against the wall for me a little bit? Saw the camera, couldn't help it.
Now I got to start all over.
Alright, let's talk bourbon. All bourbon is whiskey, but all whiskey is not bourbon. You got Canadian whiskey, Irish whiskey, okay? Now bourbon, to be called a bourbon, it's got to go through a couple of steps. Federal government has decreed that bourbon can only be made in the United States. Okay? Not just Kentucky. Florida's the 27th state of the Union. Alright, they left for a little bit, but they came back, so it still counts. Champagne can only be made in France, tequila only in Mexico, bourbon has to be made in the U.S. Now, one thing about bourbon is it's got to be at least 51% corn. Okay? Again, ours is 60%. And then it's got to be aged in brand new white oak barrels. Like all our other family farms, all the other small family businesses that support us, our cooperage is another family-owned operation. Calvin Cooperage out of Louisville, Kentucky. They produce our barrels for us. They're generations old, initially starting out in Scotland. They've been in the States since the late 1960s. Now, our barrels are wine quality barrels. Exactly what does that mean? The stalls for the barrels, the planks to make the barrels up are extra thick. On top of it, they're aged outside for up to 3 years. The snow, the rain, the sun, it gets all the grain out of it. The wood is aged. And they're completely assembled by hand. The only thing holding these barrels together are the metal bands and some rivets. No glues, no nails. Once the barrel's assembled, you toast the outside of it. Seals it up. And flip it upside down and char the inside of the barrel. White oak chips. It's that char that gives the bourbon 100% of its flavor, or excuse me, 100% of its color, about 60% of the flavor. Now initially, we did the bourbon in the smaller 25-gallon barrels, and we discovered quickly our bourbon was aging in dog years. Too quick. Most of that had to do with Florida's climate. In Kentucky, it's colder up there. It gets below 40 degrees all the time, right? Once the barrel drops below 40 degrees, it's not interacting with the spirit anymore. We don't have that problem in Florida. Even a few 40-degree cold weather days that we had here last year, it's always above 50 degrees in here. Always. So, it's always interacting, it's aging quick. So we took the bourbon after 60 months out of the little 25-gallon barrels, and put them into these 53-gallon barrels for another 8-9 months or so. Our second release of bourbon, when it comes about, is only going to be aged in the 53-gallon barrels. But once you use the barrel for bourbon, it can never be used again for bourbon. We tried some of them off to the winery. I think we're working on a deal with the distillery in Scotland that they're going to buy some of our used bourbon barrels. You can use it for rum, use it for gin, some other stuff. You can never ever use it for bourbon again. Any questions so far? Ma'am?
What's the matter with the top one that looks like it's leaking, the top third in from the left?
I have absolutely no clue. I could have been stains on the top of when they put the barrel together. Our distillers, if there's something wrong with it, I'm sure they would have hit on it by now. Yeah, I honestly don't know exactly what it is. Now again, it could have spilled when we put it on top, sunk into the wood.
Is it a law that you can't use it again for bourbon?
Yes. Yep. It's got to be a brand new white oak barrel. Okay, call it for bourbon. Absolutely. Who's thirsty? Oh, go ahead.
Can you use them for something else? Can you use it for bourbon? Like you can use it for gin?
Oh yeah, you can use it for Scotch whiskey, Irish whiskey.
No, what I'm saying is, if you have one with Scotch whiskey, can you use it for bourbon?
Nope.
So it's
Yep.
gotta be a
Bourbon,
cold-
one-shot deal.
so it's its own top.
And once it's done, it's done.
Why is that?
Say again?
Why is it?
it you can only use it once?
Because the federal government regulated that bourbon in the United States, distilled in the United States, had to be distilled in a brand new white oak barrel. If you distill it in anything else, you cannot technically call it a bourbon. It has to be just plain whiskey. Who's thirsty? You look thirsty.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
When we were over there was a gentleman who was pouring, it looked like water or whatever, into a glass, and then he put it back. What was he doing?
He's tasting.
And what is that? Was it clear?
Yeah, because it's not going to have anything, any flavor as far as bourbon goes. So
that was
it's the
bourbon
bourbon.
was really expensive.
Now that looked like the vodka,
Oh, wow.
but yeah, he's tasting it. They do it all by hand. Taste and sniff, taste and sniff, taste
What
and
would
sniff.
the bourbon look like if it was in that?
It would come out initially clear. The mash would come out initially
You
clear.
can tell.
So he's tasting vodka or whatever all day
I think it
long?
was vodka.
All day long?
Oh, not all day long, man. It's like wine tasting. You don't swallow it. Or if you do, it's very, very, very little. That's why the guys are always so happy. Again, bourbon gets 100% of its color from the barrel.
So those are all moving.
Come on in here, guys. Belly up to the bottom.
So let's explain this to vodka.
Sure.